Are we really to believe that God left all of humanity for thousands of years in the dark and then gave his religion to a science fiction writer in the 1960s? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I think whatever religion is the true religion, it should go back all the way through human history. Number two, I think it needs to be internally consistent. And what this means is this. Whatever is the true religion should not be changing time after time after time with the latest fads. It should be a religion that kind of bucks up against society once in a while, where society is trying to change things. And you see a whole bunch of religions changing. Like, for instance, a lot of Protestant religions where same-sex marriage was always seen as, no, you can't do that. But now that the times have changed, we have a lot of them saying, oh yeah, that's okay. As if God changed his mind. Like God went, oh, I got that wrong. Of course same-sex marriage is okay. What was I thinking? Or contraception. All Christian churches, rejected contraception up until the 1930s. And then, maybe, I guess it's okay after all. God changed his mind. What was once terribly sinful, God was like, oh, can't believe I didn't let you guys do that. Of course it's okay. I think when we see that kind of stuff happening within a religion, that's a big sign to us that this religion is not divinely inspired. It doesn't come from a divine origin, but rather a human origin. Because that's what humans do. Humans change, we change our minds, we get things wrong. So we're looking for a religion that's really ancient and that's internally consistent. And then finally, rational. What?
This is my chance? No.
What, yes?
I had a question about internally consistent.
Yes.
You were mostly talking about consistent through time, but also would you consider as part of the criteria consistent through organizations, which are different sects of the religion?
As long as they're not conflicting with the kernel, the true internal structure of the religion. I think there are things that are supposed to change. Even if we grant that Catholicism is the true religion, which is obviously where I think this is going to end up, right in the very beginning of it, when Jesus handed the keys to Peter, he said, you're going to have the power to loose things or bind things, whatever, make changes. But what you can't change is truth. Truth can't change. So we could change, the order of the Mass. We could change the prayers that are used in the Mass. But what we can't choose to change is whether or not abortion is right or wrong. God either got that one right or he didn't get that one right. He can't say, no, abortion's wrong, and then, oh wait, it's actually okay. That's a different kind of change than saying, we the priests are going to say this prayer at this time of Mass, and then, well, we're going to change it and put it over here. That's not changing truth. That's just changing something that's, kind of external to the truth. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm talking about internal consistency about things that cannot change. Because if you change them, it means you've altered truth. It means that there was something wrong, and now there's something that's been corrected.
Say there is a religion, different groups within it. Say different Protestant
Right.
religions,
Right.
and some of them believe things in different ways.
Yes.
Is that discounted as this?
Well, I think that what I think is wrong with Protestantism is I think it fails the ancient test. See, this is one of the things that we deal with when I talk with non-Catholics about the church, and we have some great saints who have said, once you start to study church history, it becomes very difficult to remain Protestant because you find out that your faith didn't exist for the first 1,500 years of Christianity. You can't look back at the early church fathers and find something like a Baptist church. It just didn't exist. What you find in the early church fathers is the Eucharist, the baptism of infants for their salvation. You find priests and a pope, and you find councils, things that are indeed Catholic. The only Christian religion that can kind of trace itself all the way back to Christ itself with this continuity is indeed the Catholic Church. So I think that's the compelling argument here, is I think it fails that thread. Now, of course, it's held on to things that are still true. They still believe in Jesus. They believe that he died for their sins. So that's why they're Christians. But I think as far as a test for whether or not they're authentically Christian or fully Christian, I think they fail that ancient test. Does that make sense? You have a follow-up to that? Okay. And then, of course, I think it should be rational. Now, I don't have a lot of time, so I want to end here. But I just we'll discuss a little bit more in future classes as well. But I want you to think about these three criteria, and I challenge you to find a religion besides the Catholic Church that can pass all three of these. It's just really, you know, anything that you try, yes, you cater. And can you tell me anything about the Shinto religion? As far as its internal consistency?
Not into great detail.
Okay, because it's not just ancient. Right, right. There's three criteria. And I have studied some of the ancient religions, and they usually either fail internal consistency or rationality. And all of them are not ancient because they usually all come from the Vedic texts of the Indians. Like Buddhism, for instance, is really just a new form of the ancient Vedic religion, as is Hinduism. And then from Buddhism, we have all these other splinters as well. So they actually come from an even more ancient religion that doesn't even exist anymore. Why does the which one? The Vedic text? Because it doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't exist anymore. I would also think that I would think that if I could add a fourth criteria, that I think that if it's divine, what's that? Well, I would say that the fourth one would be, I think it would still be around. If it's God's religion, then I think that he would maintain it as well within humanity. I think that's a pretty, again, I think that's a reasonable criteria. Remember, all of these are, I'm just throwing them out there as, I think that this would be reasonably what I would expect to find if God created a religion and gave it to humanity. I think he would also maintain it. And the Vedic religion, you know, they practice human sacrifice. You know, they did things that I think are also irrational. So, you know, the Hindus, for instance, practice human sacrifice. They're very ancient, but they are not internally consistent. You know, for a long time they practiced human sacrifice, and now all of a sudden that's an abomination. You know, kind of hard to see that as it's a great question, but seriously, I don't think you can find one other than Catholicism where you can apply these three and really have it work. I've had people try to look for one, but it's not. So you belong to in a very special place here, folks. Father, did you want to say anything?
Should give instructions for how we're going to move.
Okay, yeah, we're going to go to the bonfire. You guys were great tonight, by the way. And